He will soon come back.
Okay, so he did give you some idea of when he would come back, right?
Soon.
Soon. Okay. And did you take that to mean sometime soon?
His soons can vary, so I just took it as I soon be back.
Do you remember when he left that second time? When he came back from taking his mother to work and then he was there 30 minutes when he left?
No,
Was it before lunchtime or after lunchtime?
I'm not sure. That I don't know.
Was it before 1 o'clock or after 1 o'clock?
I can't say because I don't remember.
And did he come back soon?
I would say like maybe 4 or 5 hours, maybe. I'm not really sure.
In fact, Ms. Kelly, he didn't return to your residence until after midnight, correct?
It was before midnight.
Do you remember talking to us at the state attorney's office just 4 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
And saying that it was between 11:30 and 12:30?
11 and 12. I never said after 12.
You don't remember saying that?
I never said that.
11:30 to 12:30.
11 to 12.
Okay.
That's what I said.
So if he had left around, say, 1 o'clock, right?
That's what you say because
I'm
I
not
don't
saying
remember.
that. I'm not saying that. Let me go back. Did he leave in the early afternoon? Did he leave in the middle of the afternoon or the late afternoon?
It was kind of like the middle, but I'm not sure of what time it was.
Okay. So if he left, say, in the middle, like, say, 2 o'clock, that would have had him gone for, what, 9 hours, 10 hours?
Something like that.
Okay. So a lot more than 4 or 5 hours, right, Ms. Kelly?
Based on your time, yes, that
If
you
he
just
left
gave.
at 2 o'clock.
Yeah,
All right.
if he did.
And if he left at 3 o'clock, it would be 8 hours, correct?
Correct.
And you didn't have a motor vehicle that whole time he was gone, correct?
Correct.
Did you have phone contact with him that day?
Yes.
Did you make phone calls to him?
Text because my this area that I live in has a bad signal, so sometimes texting would be better.
So you texted him
I think I text him. Yes.
throughout the day.
Yes. Both of us text each other.
And did you ask him when he was coming back?
I don't recall exactly.
Well, what were you texting him about?
I'm not really sure.
Were you asking him when he was going to return your car?
I'm not sure.
And Ms. Kelly, this wasn't the first time he had left in your car and left you at home for quite a while, correct?
Under my permission, yes, correct. He just don't take my car and leave me.
But he did take your car and leave you that day, right?
With my knowledge.
I'm sure it was with your knowledge,
Yes.
but you weren't happy about it, were you?
I just wasn't happy that I wasn't able to run my errand. It wasn't that he had the vehicle, it's just that the timing was off for me to.
And you didn't get to run your errand because he wanted to run his errand, right?
He was already doing that. It's just he didn't make it back in time for me to meet the person I needed to meet in order to do my errand.
And when he took his mother to work.
That's correct.
All right. But when he left, when he came back, he was there for a brief amount of time and left in your car.
When he came back, it was already too late for me. The place wasn't closed,
Okay.
but as I told you, I needed to get a paper before I even went to the place. So therefore, I couldn't get the paper from my employer, so I had to reschedule anyway. But the place was still open.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting us know that.
No problem.
This will work a lot better if you let me ask my question before you answer, okay?
Oh, okay.
All right? Because we can't talk over each other. She can't take down two people talking. All right? I appreciate you speaking up so loud so we can all hear you. When he left that day in your car, he left you at home, and you weren't happy about it, were you?
Sustain the objection.
And when he didn't come back soon, later that day, you weren't happy, were you?
Overruled, go ahead, you can answer that one.
Again, it's the same answer as I just told you. I was only annoyed because I didn't make it to my appointment, not because of the time he reached back home.
Did you ask him when you texted him what he was doing all of this time?
I don't recall if I asked him that. I'm not sure.
And you told us on that day at least you've never heard the name Ebony Wiley, correct?
That's correct.
So the defendant never texted you and said, I'm with Ebony or I'm with Miss Wiley or anything like that, correct?
Correct.
And when he left, did he tell you he was going to pick up Ebony Wiley and a small child?
Overruled, go ahead.
Actually, I had read that he wasn't going to
That's
go.
not what I asked you, what you read.
Well, what
ma'am.
did you-
I asked you.
He didn't tell me
Wait,
that,
wait,
no.
Listen, stop. This only works one at a time. The question is, did he tell you?
No.
Okay. And when he texted you throughout that day, did he tell you that he was with Ebony Wiley or a small child?
No.
Did he tell you that he was going to the 8910 Tanglewood Lane apartment?
No.
Did he tell you he was taking Ebony Wiley and this little girl to the 8910 Tanglewood Lane apartment?
No.
Do you remember your phone number during that time period?
I'm not sure.
Do you have the same phone number?
No, I probably don't.
Do you remember a number 727? It would be 727, right? Because you lived in Pinellas?
Correct.
Do you remember a 902-6731 number?
Yes.
And that was your number?
Correct.
That's not still your number?
No.
So later that night he returns to the apartment, correct?
Correct.
And you're telling us now that it was between 11:30 and 12? Is
No,
that
I
right?
said 11
I'm
and
sorry,
12.
11 and 12.
Correct.
When he came to the house, did he just walk in the house? Is that the way it would work? Or did he knock? Or how did that work?
He probably had the key. If it was on the car key, yeah, he probably had the key, so he just walked in.
So he had the key to your house when he left?
Correct.
And can you tell us how he was dressed when he left that morning the second time?
The same way he left.
I'm sorry, when he left that day the second time, because you told us you don't remember when. But when he left that day the second time, how was he dressed?
The same way he left.
No, that's what I'm asking. When he
Oh,
left,
what did he have on?
Yes, ma'am. When
He had
left.
on a polo type shirt and some jeans, I want to say, and some like Sperry type shoes.
Okay. And what color was the shirt?
I believe it was white.
And this was a polo shirt, like a pullover shirt with the 3-button collar?
Correct.
And did it have a pocket?
I can't recall if it had a pocket.
Do you remember it having a pocket with some kind of a design on it?
It had a design, not a pocket. It did have some kind of symbol on the shirt, but it wasn't a pocket. It was a symbol.
Okay. So, and then the shirt itself had some kind of a design?
No, the shirt was plain and it had a design like on the, maybe the left side of the chest area,
Okay.
but the whole shirt wasn't a design. It was plain with the design on the corner.
Okay, I understand. Like, I'm not saying it's a polo brand, but like that? Something similar to
Like a
that?
Nautica, polo, something type, those type.
Was he dressed the same way when he came home?
Correct.
And when he came to the house, was he acting the way he normally acts?
Yes.
And when he got there, what did you do? And what did he do?
I was watching TV when he came in, so he just came upstairs because I had an upstairs, downstairs, and he was just talking to me, or attempting to talk to me, and then he was like kind of watching the show along with me for a minute, and that's pretty much it.
So, did you have any conversations with him?
We said a few words.
All right. And did you give him the cold shoulder during that conversation?
I won't say the cold shoulder. I just probably went as bubbly as I would be, maybe talking to him.
And why was that?
Um, Probably a little annoyed, maybe. Yeah.
And was he trying to be jovial and nice when he came in?
Yeah, he was just, talking regular. No.
Did you feel as if he was trying to be nice to make up for leaving there all day?
No, I don't think it was really about that day. It was really about that whole week. So it wasn't about that day when you speak of him and I.
Okay. So he was trying to be nice to you to make up for the whole week.
We hadn't been right maybe for that week. It could have been better, so it just wasn't about that day.
And at some point, did he go to sleep?
Yes.
About how long after he got home did he go to sleep?
I would say maybe between 30 and 45 minutes.
30 to 45 minutes?
Yeah.
And how did you know he was asleep?
Because he went to sleep before me.
Were you in the same room with him when he went to sleep?
Yes.
Okay, so you were both in the bedroom.
We was both in the same bed.
And you knew he was asleep because you could hear him snoring or deep breathing, or
He was asleep, sir.
you know when he sleeps?
Yes.
So now going into the next day, May 17th, 2014, do you remember getting up that morning before him?
Yes, I always do.
You always did. What time do you think you got up that morning?
Maybe like 7 or 8-ish, I want to say.
At some point, did you receive a phone call sometime after you woke up from the defendant's mother?
Well, it was a while after, but I did receive a phone call.
So, how long was it after you got up?
It could have been a couple hours. It just wasn't right when I woke up. It was somewhere down the line.
Couple hours?
Yeah, something like that.
You got a call from his mother?
Yes.
And did she ask you to wake him up?
She asked me where was he.
Oh,
and
okay.
Yeah, and I proceeded to tell her that he was asleep, and then she asked to speak to him. So I woke him up. I woke him up and told him that his mother was on the phone.
Did he wake up?
Yes.
Did you give him the phone?
Yes.
And did he speak with his mother?
Yes.
Did you hear some of the conversation, at least his part of the conversation?
He wasn't really speaking. He was just saying like she was speaking. I don't really know what she was saying, but on his end he wasn't really like speaking. He was just answering, so it's like he was listening to something.
Do you remember him making a statement to her about making sure she was somewhere?
No, I think he said on one phone call, I don't know if this phone call was the one, but on one of those phone calls, he was like, it's okay, just make sure you be there when whomsoever come.
Make sure you're there when they go in? You remember him saying
Yeah,
that?
or something like that.
And so he had more than one conversation with his mother that morning?
I believe so, yes.
And during some of those phone conversations, were you there when he started the conversation and not there during the course of the conversation? Maybe he walked outside or?
I was moving around already because I was cleaning up, so I really wasn't focused on their conversation.
Okay. So there was times when you weren't hearing what he was talking to her about?
That's correct.
All right. Going back to the night before, I forgot to ask you about this. When he came in, before he went to sleep, did he smoke any cigarettes?
I think he did smoke a cigarette.
Okay.
Not sure.
That would have been before he went to sleep, obviously, right?
Obviously.
And what did you and Mr. Ritchie do that morning, or I guess whenever he woke up a couple hours later, what did you all do?
As I said, I was moving around because I was cleaning, and I think Shanna took out the garbage, which we always have to drive the garbage around because it's so far. So we'll drive the garbage around, and I still was cleaning. And then he was watching TV for a while, and just nothing really important,
Just hanging out?
something like that.
And when you say you had to drive the garbage around, you mean the garbage location within your complex was a distance from your residence?
Correct,
So you would put the garbage in the trunk or on the back of the car or whatever?
correct, and drive it.
At some point that day, did you drive with the defendant to that Insta-Loan location that you had wanted to go to the day before?
Yes,
And where is that located?
it's on US 19 and I believe 11th Avenue or 10th Avenue
In
South.
St. Petersburg?
Yes,
And when you went there, who was driving?
Chenna,
The defendant?
Granville,
The
Granville,
defendant?
yes.
Okay. When you arrived at that business, did you go into the business?
Yes,
Did the defendant come in with you?
not at that time.
When you arrived there, as you were driving there, was he on the phone with somebody?
He received a phone call. Yes. I don't know who it was from. All I can hear is him say, "Yes, sir." And when he was saying, "Yes, sir," I was exiting the car at that time.
Whoever he was talking to, he was referring to them as sir? Yes, sir.
Correct.
Did that indicate to you that the person he was speaking with was a male?
Yes.
Did you then go inside of the Insta-Loan business?
Yes.
And inside of the lobby of the business, is there a space you have to walk across to get to some desks?
Yes.
And did you walk to a desk?
Yes.
Did you meet with somebody there?
Yes.
Was there a young lady sitting behind the desk who assisted you with your application?
Yes.
And at some point, was there a male manager who assisted you?
I think he took the pictures of the vehicle.
Okay. So at some point, did the manager go out to your car and take photographs of it?
That's correct.
And as far as the doorway that you entered through to go into the business,
Mhm.
was the car parked around the corner from that?
Yes.
While you were applying for that loan, at some point, did the defendant, Chenna, did he walk into the business and approach you?
Well, I actually applied for the loan on that Friday. So basically everything was done with the exception of the pictures.
Okay.
So when I went in there, I was just coming to basically sign the paperwork
To finish it?
and finish it.
Okay, thank you. So you went into, when you were in there, you were finishing this loan process?
Correct.
And they were taking photos of the car because you were using that as collateral, or the title?
The title as collateral.
At some point, did the defendant enter the residence and approach you?
Yes.
And what did he say to you?
I believe he asked me maybe how much longer I was going to be at that time. I'm not really sure.
Okay. Did he say something about having to leave, or he needed to leave?
Eventually he did say he needed to leave.
Okay.
He will be back.
In fact, did he leave the Insta loan after that first time and then come back in a second time?
I don't think he left the premises. I think maybe he went back outside. But he didn't leave in the vehicle. He just went back outside.
That's what I meant. He left inside the business and walked back towards the vehicle?
Correct.
And then he came back in the business a later time?
A few minutes afterwards.
Okay.
Yes.
And you have seen today, I think a couple weeks ago when you came into my office, you've seen a video from that lobby that
Correct.
reflects you being there and shows the defendant coming in and out?
Yes.
The second time he came in and approached you, did he tell you he needed to leave?
I think that's when he told me that he would be back. He had to go do something. Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember him telling you he had to take care of some business?
I don't think his words were he had to take care of some business. I think he said he had to do something.
Okay. Do you remember telling me when we met at my office 3 weeks ago, and my investigator, Mr. Miller, was there, that he told you he needed to take care of some business?
He told me that he needed to do something. And then I was like, do what? You don't even know nobody around here. That's what I told you.
And you were indicating to him that he didn't know the area.
Correct.
St. Petersburg.
Correct.
So you were trying to figure out what would you have to do in this area.
Correct.
And so he was telling you he needed to leave.
Correct.
Now, at some point, he walks out after telling you that. Is that right?
Correct.
And do you, at some point, get up and go out and follow him out?
When he told me, I didn't have a chance to speak because I was in the middle of doing something with the young lady. But when I finished signing it, that's when I got up to try to catch him, to ask him, like, where were you going? You don't even know anybody around here. So that's how that conversation went.
Okay. And were you trying to get him not to leave?
I was trying to get him to tell me where he was going, and I also was trying to get him to wait on me because it wasn't going to be that much longer.
And did he do that?
No.
Did he leave?
Yes.
And how did that make you feel?
I wasn't happy.
Would it be fair to say you were upset?
Yes, a little.
Okay. And later, did you get more upset?
Yes.
Because when he left, he told you he'd be right back, right?
Yes.
Okay. But he didn't come right back, did he?
No.
After he left, at some point, do you remember texting him?
I remember texting him, yes.
And do you remember telling him how selfish he was by leaving you there?
I probably did say that, yes.
And do you remember bringing to his attention that he had stranded you there by leaving
Left
you
me
there?
stranded, yes.
And you had no way to get home?
Yes.
And you had no key?
Well, I didn't have a key. He didn't know if I had a way to go home because he didn't give me that opportunity to make sure I had a way home at that moment.
And he had your house key, right?
Correct.
Do you remember him making a reply text to you that you should have your mother pick you up?
Yes, something like that.
And that you text him back? I'm going to show you some exhibits here. States T1. I'd ask that you look up over your right-hand shoulder there. First of all, that would be your number up there, the 727-902-6731 number.
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember him texting to you, call your mom, come get you when I come back, I'll explain, at 4:15 p.m.? That sound right?
Yes.
Okay. And you replied, she isn't here. WTF, she is with Gail.
Correct.
Who is Gail?
That's her friend.
Your mom's friend.
Right.
In fact, your mother and her friend Gail had come over here to Hillsborough, right, somewhere?
Yes.
Over to the Indian Casino?
Yes.
And the WTF, what does that stand for?
What?
You can just say, what the F, and I think we'll understand.
What the F?
Okay. And then you text him again, didn't you?
Yes.
And you said, really, my mom is with Gail, so therefore she can't come and get me.
Correct.
You're telling him, that's not going to happen, I'm still stranded, right?
Correct.
And then you said, you do some crazy shit, what would you do if I came by myself? Right? Is that what you told him?
That's correct, sir.
You would have to wait like you should have done.
Mm-hmm.
You leave me, FKN, I'm assuming that stands for effing or fucking, right? Is that
Okay.
right? Okay. Stranded with no house keys, that's what the HSE stands for?
Correct.
Who FK, is that again stands for FUCK? Is that right?
Yes.
Who FK does that, and then you refer to him by a racial expletive, correct?
No, not that type.
Okay. But you're referring to him when you say NIGA, correct?
Nigga, not nigger. Yeah,
Okay.
nigga.
So but you're referring to him, right?
Correct.
You describe him, a nigga like you, right?
Correct.
Okay. Then you make the statements, bitch, fuck you, I'm tired of your inconsiderate ass, whatever you are. And I think it goes on to the next text. States T2. Whatever you and your mom has going, you don't just leave me and take care of you, right?
Correct.
So what you were expressing there was that you're sick of him being selfish and inconsiderate, correct?
For the last couple days, yes.
Yeah. And you were sick of him taking care of himself before he took care of you and being inconsiderate towards you, correct?
Something like that.
And that would go back to the day before when he had your car all day long, correct, on the 16th? That was just an example of his inconsiderateness, correct?
That day.
Then you indicate, that was at 4:34, at 4:36 you indicate, then you don't answer the phone knowing you knew that before you left, when you could have waited a few minutes and made sure I'm okay. So he wasn't answering your phone calls.
Correct.
And you were calling him, trying to get an explanation from him?
Correct.
Were you trying to find out when he was going to come back?
Yes.
And then you indicate he left and didn't wait for you, which you said earlier you're trying to get him to wait, right?
Yes.
And then in the next text, you can take a look at that for me. And not assume I have a ride when I don't, right?
Yes.
So he was assuming your mom would be able to come pick you up, and that was an assumption. You're telling him you can't assume I'm going to be able to have a ride, correct?
Correct.
And you call him a dumbass bitch. Is that right?
Yes.
You're upset, aren't you?
At that moment, yes.
You're angry, aren't you?
Yes.
You've been stranded by him at this Insta-Loan business, and he has your house key. You can't even get into your house, correct?
Correct.
And this isn't the first time he's done this to you, is it?
Well, he's never left me stranded.
Well,
So
it's not
that
the
is
first
the
time
first
he's
time.
ever treated you inconsiderately, though, correct?
In a sense, it's nothing like this, I would say.
States T3. Well, you said this was an accumulation kind of coming out, right? Of you, an accumulation that had built up in you over the week.
From different things, yes.
And I believe you text again, not assume I have a ride when I don't. And then his text back to you at 4:56 p.m. Can you read that for us?
I'm in trouble, relax.
He tells you to relax. He sends you a 4-word text message after this litany of text messages from you, correct?
Correct.
It says, I'm in trouble.
Relax.
Relax.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember that?
I do now.
Okay. When he left, did he tell you that he was going to the Temple Terrace Police Department?
No.
When you left, or when he left, did he tell you that a detective had called him on the phone and requested that he come to the Temple Terrace Police Department?
No.
And Ms. Kelly, prior to going to the Insta-Loan, you and Mr. Ritchie were at your house all morning?
Correct.
All right. And he never left and went anywhere, correct?
Only to throw the trash out.
Only to throw the trash out, and that was just a couple minutes, right?
I think he may have stayed out there extra because he was on the phone.
Okay. Outside on the phone for a few minutes?
Yeah.
Maybe smoking a cigarette again?
I didn't say that. I know he was on the phone.
going to show you what's been marked as states M-A 1 through 5. Ms. Kelly, you've seen these just a few minutes ago, right?
Yes.
And I think I showed those to you when you were in my office with me about 4 weeks ago.
Yes.
Does that appear to be the photographs that they took at the Insta-Loan business?
Yeah, I never saw them, so if that's it, yes.
But does that appear to be your car parked at the Insta-Loan business?
Yes.
Okay. And they were recording how many miles you had on the car, right?
Correct.
And your VIN number and identification
That's
information for the car? Okay. States M dash A1.
Have those been admitted?
If they're not, I would tender them for admission. No, I don't think they're in.
They're admitted.
States M-A1. You can look over your right shoulder, Ms. Kelly. You were just looking at that photograph. So you had said that your car was parked around the corner from the front of the business?
Yes, that is.
Okay. So your car is facing in towards the side of the business. Is that right?
It's on the side.
It's on the
yes.
side, okay. So is there a street out here, if you can look at the picture, is there a street that runs this way, right here in front of the business?
US 19 or 34th Street?
Okay. So did the business face that road?
Correct.
Okay. So the business, the windows that look out from the business do not face where your car is parked?
Right.
States M-A3. You take a look at that. So this wall here would be the side of the business. Is that right?
Correct.
And then the front of the business would be over there.
In the